Hey guys, episode 2 of where we're doing a rear wheel drive Magna. Today we're going to pull the motor out and see if we can make it actually fit.
All right, so in this episode, we're going to be putting this Pajero gearbox that we pulled out of episode 1 and a Sylvia subframe in the Magna behind us. So my colleague actually didn't let you know what's going on in case you did miss it. So you can blame this guy over here if you're not up to speed, but now you are. So if you did miss it, click up here. There'll be a link to the first episode up there. But otherwise, let's get stuck into it. We're going to be pulling the engine out and the subframe through the bottom. So it's probably going to be a time lapse of that happening right now. And then we haven't actually measured anything yet. So I'm pretty sure it's going to fit. Like, we're going to have to cut a tunnel out of it. And I don't really know. Honestly, I haven't measured it. Bubs, did you measure anything?
It looks like it will fit. If it doesn't, we'll make it fit.
Okay, well, visually it's going to fit. So come along for the ride as we destroy a piece of Australian history and try and have fun along the way.
Hell yeah. I got a question for you. What is with all you can eat? You get there, the food is so crap and you feel sick afterwards, but you keep eating. It's like you got to prove a point. I can outdo you. I don't know where I was going with that, but keep that in mind. How is your dad?
Imagine if I did an identical piece to the camera that you did afterwards. Just be like, what's with all you can eat? How is your dad? You used a hoist before?
Yeah. No. I'm actually not allowed to. I've got a legal document. There's $1. I've got a legal document saying I'm not allowed to touch stuff.
I wouldn't let you touch that. Classic. Me on my phone. He's actually working. First time that's ever been recorded on film, I'll bet. Didn't think that was going to come off, man.
Hey, you got a powered operating machinery.
That was freaking tight. Pretty sure it's unnecessarily tight for an exhaust bolt.
Have you thought about maybe undoing it?
I did think about it.
Right, yeah, well, hang on a sec. Yeah, nah. Yeah. Oh. Oh, I love this song. It's my jam. Yeah. You're leaking oil.
One of us should do something about that.
We should stare at it for a little bit longer.
Why don't we actually drain the gearbox?
Why don't we just drain it? Oh.
Two wonders wanna have fun. If the man don't dance, he's done. To the move on, get the man come. Now can I get a crew come on?
No night, lonely, nearing to you. That's one way to find out. No, it'll be all right.
I mean, but all this will droop down, like it'll be.
Why? Why would it?
I'm glad Bubba's working because I'm ahead of tunes. All right. It's SoundCloud. That's the clip ID if you want it. It's fire. Fire.
Actually, that's got, yeah, it's got a little bit of tension. You stay there.
Now I'm getting worried.
Don't be worried, mate. The concrete will catch it. Look.
Oh, I don't like that. It wasn't even that tight.
Yeah, nah.
Hit it with your purse.
Fucking
This
longs.
kids is why you stay in school. So you don't fucking have to end up doing this for people's entertainment. Thinking you're cool. You know, this cost me thousands of dollars.
I know. I feel bad every time I disrespect your Magna. I feel bad because I see it like a little bit more of you just... If it makes you feel better, I reckon it's awesome.
It is awesome.
It is awesome.
I love this car. I'm actually so sad we're cutting it up, but this has been a dream of mine for like years.
And this car loves you, mate.
It's not good. It's not going to for long. No. What? Needs a heater core.
Needs a header core.
Heater core.
I think that's the least of your worries, bruh.
Anyway, moving on.
He had one job. Oh, so now you're just giving up, you're just being brutal.
What needs a heater core anyway, all right?
Oh, mate, you are so violent.
Hold on to your hats, YouTube. This is R-rated stuff. That's a statement coming from me after working with him all day. Don't do this.
Don't try this at home, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because you're not that stupid. All right, we'll just go. Well, we're still going to do the strut tower, so I ain't going to go far.
Didn't go anywhere.
It ain't going to go far, you reckon? Hey, the strut towers are still intact. All right.
Who's the dude that was like, the strut towels will hold it up?
The strut towers are holding it. It hasn't fallen. Actually, it did. Perfect.
So dumb.
Perfect.
So, we got the engine out. Good job, us. I don't know if that was rougher than the Pajero or not. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was too. That came out really, really easy.
What is that?
Oh, that's the aircon. No, it's not. That's the flux capacitor.
No, it's the power steering res.
That's what I just said. Ah, I can see, what's that hose there?
Oh, that's power steering return. Hang on. Did you undo anything?
You know what? It was on my side too. That must have been when I went on break.
People at YouTube love your antics,
Yeah.
but not me. I'd rather if you actually worked.
Hey, you said you were going to give me a cheeseburger. I'm still waiting for it. Actually, no, that wasn't you.
All right.
All right, here we go. We're good?
I don't know. Suppose.
What? Maybe. All right.
I think so.
Just watch the inner guard, like the...
Hang on. Oh, no. Yeah, keep going. Yep.
Tell me to stop.
So much room for activity.
I know.
Look at that.
Yeah. Wow.
See, you two can do this if you have an all-wheel drive Magna. You can make this happen.
Aren't we just doing a service in this?
Yeah,
We're just changing the oil, aren't
long
we?
way to go for an oil filter. Well, I suppose now we pull the engine off the subframe and then...
See if it messes it up.
Yeah, we pull the engine off the gearbox and then...
Actually, you know what we should do?
Lunch. This is what I look like when I contemplate my life. Like, I'm like, why am I like this? This right here. So if you see me and I'm just like, what steps in life have I taken to get to this point? So stupid. Don't do this. I'm appreciating that you guys are watching it from your lounge room. You're not dirty. Who's doing this?
They're probably not hungry as well.
All right, so since last time you saw us, we have cut out all of the engine mounts in the front of the car. So we've tried to smooth that a little bit because we're not going to be mounting it that way anymore. So we're going to be using rear-wheel drive engine mounts off the block. So before this would have had engine mounts up here, those big blocks you'll see me cutting off in the B-roll here. And now we're actually going to make this engine rear-wheel drive. So I ask, how would you do that? Well, we're going to move this manifold around the other way, because if you think the firewall's right here, we probably don't want our intake directly into that. Also, all of our water system, currently it's all facing the wrong way, so we are going to change that. I've already pre-sourced all of the 3.5 litre water system from a Triton, which does actually go out the right way. After that, I think we're going to put the gearbox on the engine, try and get it up in the car and see how much we actually have to cut out. Fingers crossed it's not too bad, but honestly, not looking forward to it. So we're ready to change our manifold around to rear wheel drive spec. So if we pop this upper off, turn it around, and oh no, the bolt pattern is actually backwards. So some of you in the comment section are probably saying, Pez doesn't know shit, Pez is a loser, or maybe you're saying, he's so hot, I want to marry him. Anyway, now we've changed the lower around, and what do you know? This actually all bolts together. So this is a cheap and dirty hack that you can do at home. I don't know why you'd be doing this, but it saves you putting the throttle body on the other side or something silly. Honestly, you can just turn the lower around, everything fits, everything bolts up. Just make sure you get your injectors in the right sequence, and you're honestly good to go. While we've got the top end of the engine apart, now's a really good time for us to change the water pump. So this is part of our water system we're converting to rear wheel drive, and unfortunately in the 6G platform, that's driven off the timing belt. So how do you change a timing belt? Well, it's actually not that difficult. All you've got to do is wind the engine over. On the 6G platform, they made it really easy. There's a little 1/2-inch drive there so you can stick a bar in it. Wind it over. After you've taken the covers off, you can see there's some little white notches on top of the cam pulleys that have to line up with little V's on the engine. So once you get those lined up, check down the bottom, it's actually lined up with 0. Now you're at top dead center. You can confidently pull the timing belt off with no worries you're gonna punch any valves or do any damage. And then when you go to put it back together, it's all already set up for you. So after a full day of messing around with water systems off camera, we went to 2 different wrecking yards, even tried a quad cam Pajero water system, no bueno. So none of them seem to work with the water pump system on the front of the Magna, unfortunately. So it looks like we're gonna have to modify the existing one we had and just route the coolant hoses to the front. It is gonna look a little bit messier, but honestly, that's our options. Although I'm pretty sure you're gonna like how the engine looks now with the intake facing to the front and something a little bit more spicy we worked on this afternoon off camera, just to give you a big reveal of how this project is actually progressing and how we're moving forwards. So let me introduce to you the Mitsubishi Magna paired with the Mitsubishi Pajero gearbox. So all of this is going to go in that, and I couldn't be more excited. All right, so we're in the interior of the victim-to-be. If you're a Mitsubishi fan, I suggest you look away right about now for the next 5 to 10 minutes because it's gonna get ugly. We've pulled apart the entire interior of the Magna. I haven't filmed any of it because honestly, you don't really want to watch some random on YouTube pull apart a dash and struggle to do it. So I've done all that off camera. All I've left is the shifter so we know where to hole saw through the floor for our brand new Pajero trans to go through. After that goes through is where it gets tricky. So we're gonna have to cut all of the firewall out where the engine's gonna hit, where the gearbox is gonna be. It's gonna be nasty. But honestly, just be glad you're sitting there at home, comfortable, probably got a Pepsi Max in hand, hopefully, and you're not the one that has to do it. So we're gonna see how this goes, but we're pretty committed now, so let's get after it. All right, so the main consideration from this is there was only 486 white TW all-wheel drive Magnas ever made. So they might be rarer than you think they are. Unfortunately, this one, being an ex-New South Wales cop car, isn't gonna see the road in its same traditional sense, but the tunnel mods are coming along really nicely, so I'm really happy with how it's all going. And look, I mean, we can't really change it back to how it was, and if this doesn't bother you, I recommend you go and watch like Discovery Channel, maybe some David Attenborough, you know, go back to where you belong, because these are the streets, this is the real world. All right, so that's us done for the night now. So we don't have the engine mounted, however, we do have it positioned. So after all that crashing and bashing and grinding, it's finally done. The engine's in its final position. So we finally got all the tunnel cut out and it's now ready for engine mounting. And I don't know if you can believe it or not, but I think the best method to do that is going to be utilizing the front engine mount that it came with in its front wheel drive configuration. So we're going to have a bar that runs across the front, mounts the front of the engine. After then, we're going to move on to doing the gearbox. And then finally after that, we're going to do the suspension and we're going to have a rear wheel drive Magna. How exciting is that? But first things first, I'm going to go to bed because I've been grinding for about 10 hours and I'm super over it at the moment. So we're going to come back tomorrow and then we're just going to make it all fit. Honestly, there's nothing else for it than to just do it. So let's come back tomorrow with fresh eyes and we'll get this knocked out. Honestly, we're nearly there. Okay, so it's a couple of days later and our best friend, the engine crane, is no longer needed because it's sitting under its own weight. So now we have used a combination of silicon mounts plus VE control arm mounts of all things. And what we talked about with this bar setup, we've now done. So the engine sitting under its own weight, the gearbox is supported under its own weight. Everything is in the car. So pretty crazy milestone for the build. We'll get underneath, we'll check out this gearbox mount. I've also mounted the rack. It's kind of a bit rough, it's a work in progress. We'll talk about that. But first things first, let's get underneath the car, check out the gearbox mount. After that, it's probably not that far away from being able to start if we want to by the end of this episode. It has no alternator, no coolant, but I think it should run. All right, so we're now in the business end of the Magna. Don't look, it still doesn't have a tunnel. However, I can safely walk underneath the gearbox without fear of being crushed because we've now made a brand new gearbox cross member. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's tucked up super high. It's mounted on the inner rail, so double skin, super strong. It's not gonna move anywhere. And this is a good chance to talk about how we cut the transfer off the gearbox. So the Pajero gearbox would normally have a transfer that would hang around here. Fortunately enough, Bardo did help me out, so massive shout out to him. We cut it and plated the gearbox, so now there's no transfer, no gear left in it, except for the low range. So technically, we could do low range burnouts in this car, which is pretty cool. That's something I wanted to hang on to. And we haven't had to cut out a whole lot more of the car. So super stoked with how it's all panning out. And now we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. The fact that the wheels are back on the car means there's some form of suspension. The suspension's back under the car. Now, some of you will be asking how we did that. We were talking last time about using an S13 crossmember. Seems like that was going to be far too difficult. So all I did was I've cut it most of the way through and hit it with an axe, of all things. So all the suspension's back under the car. It does mean we do need to custom mount the rack. So here we are, custom rack mounts. So this will probably be included in the next video, but just a little sneak peek. This is what we're working on right now, is mounting the rack. Unfortunately, the old rack was mounted off the firewall. So we can't do that anymore because there's a dirty great gearbox in the way. So this had to go, but I think it's pretty good. All the suspension's back under the car. Didn't take very long. So I think it'll work pretty well for a drift car. Okay, so in order to make this swap work, we need to bridge the neutral start switch. So what is that? It's so you can't start the car in gear. So all automatics are fitted with those, and it's fundamental we find where that is and how you would actually do it. So the shifter out of the Magna works, so park, reverse, neutral, drive. So when you put it in park, it actually pushes. So it would push that cable. So we'll put this in the position it would have been in the car. And you think about the cable coming in. If we push this shift lever all the way to the front, that's park position. So now all we've got to do, grab our multimeter set to resistance, go through, we'll probe every single wire until we hear that beep. So that beep will mean that there's continuity between there. That'll link the switch. That means we can start the car. So we'll go through right now. We'll probe every single wire just on this one plug until we get it. So if we say probe these two plugs here, that's continuity, that's a neutral start switch. If you want to check, bump it into reverse or any other kind of gear, check those two pins again. No beep. Put it in neutral, next bump down, so park, reverse, neutral, try again, beep again. That's how we know, that's our neutral switch. Now we're good to go and bridge that on the plug, and I think the car will fire up. All right, so here's the receiving bridge on our transmission. So this is the plug, and there's our little bridge we've just put in there. So that's just some uninsulated wire. Fingers crossed that allows us to start the Magna now. Unfortunately, the other day, I got a bit excited when I bolted the gearbox onto the back of the engine, and I actually forgot to put the clutch on. So the whole lot has to come back out again, which is a bit stupid by me, but it'll help us to weld in some engine mounts and stuff permanently. Some of it is just tacked in, but now, I think we're at a point where we can try and start it. So fingers crossed, it does actually run, and we'll cap off this episode with a little bit of Magna noise. Now all I've got to do is all the alternator wiring and radiator plumbing, heaters, interior, tunnel. Jeez, there's so much left to do. I'm so over it. Hope that mums like these videos though. That'd be cool if they subscribed. You know, send me a few likes. That'd be rad. I think it's all coming together though. Honestly, it hasn't actually taken that long. So yeah, the next episode's gonna be pretty lit. I reckon we're actually gonna probably take it somewhere. Might even finish the Magna build. We'll see. Can't be far away, sure.